Hi Arnab,
Hello, Srilekha.
how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. And nice to catch up with you after a long time.
Yeah,
I remember catching up with you after the first book launch. And then this is the second time we are catching up, I guess. And I've just completed
absolutely.
my third book launch yesterday.
Yeah, so I couldn't join for your last book launch session, so hope it was good. So it's your third book, right?
Yes, it's a series. It's a
Okay.
trilogy basically.
Oh,
So with this third release, so the series is complete.
oh,
So it's
that's
a three
great.
volume book. Yeah. Yeah.
That's great. So I know that you're a good author, and I've heard about your concept. But just if you can elaborate on uh, about yourself and what made you write Priming You,
hmm
and what is that book
Sure.
about?
Sure. See, Srilekha, I think you probably must have read the first volume, as you said, right?
Yeah.
I can talk about the composite of all the three volumes. What is priming you about, and what made me, what was the trigger factor of initiating writing this book? So I would say what initiated writing me. It's a very funny thing if I say that. It was COVID, and I had nothing else to do, right? But then, jokes apart, it was always there in my mind to to talk about something, to write about something related to psychology. I'm very much fond of it from the very beginning, and so now I'm in corporate, so I tend to shift toward corporate psychology. That's one motivation of me putting myself forward in taking an attempt, I would say, to write something. And then another thing that I always observed was the employee mental balance. A lot of people complain about how they feel about their job, how they hate their managers, and what's wrong happening in their lives. I mean, rarely people talk about positive stuff. So these are things that I always kept noting in the background. I think this all came in one place when I had a lot of free time in COVID. I know we all worked from home, right, during the prime COVID time.
Yeah, right.
So that actually, gave me a chance, I would say, to pen down all my thoughts in one place. It was all scattered. I've been writing these things as a
What
thought
was the main
process.
reason for you to come up with a book only during COVID? Yeah, as you're saying, it's about the priming, the psychology, the corporate mindset. So, did anything trigger you at that moment to come up with this concept of writing a book or publishing it in the form of a book that has something to
Mhm.
do with the mindset? I understand all of us are at homes working from home during COVID, but what made you get this thought of writing a book about the psychology and mindset at that point of time? Would you like to share any major cause that made you come up with this concept?
Right, right. See, I firmly believe that all our thoughts are a reason of the precursor. It means it always precedes whatever happened the day before. It'll push some thought that has to happen today. So thoughts doesn't really happen instantaneously. It always had a link back in the past. And I think it had to do with my, general hobby about learning psychology from the very beginning. Even from childhood, I had the tendency to notice people's behavior, how people interact. I was a very shy guy. I never spoke very much in schools and colleges, and I used to be very quiet, always observing people. And then finally, when I started working, for the first time, I started interacting with people. So all my knowledge about observing people throughout my life, and then finally, when I started working, it gave me slowly I got the idea of why not write something that I have finally come to an understanding about psychology? Why not pen it down? And then when I was here in Australia, I saw it more. I saw people getting more and more agitated about, complaining about their work-life balance and all sorts of things. It never happened in a day, Shileka, at least for me. Nothing triggered me. Just one day, one fine day, I never woke up and and thought about something. No, it was always there in me. It was hidden in me. I
But
slowly
when
found it.
you actually found some time to pen it down in the form of a book during COVID.
Right. And also, there is a good friend of mine here. She's also a psychologist. I mean, she has a PhD in psychology. She's also doing some other work related to psychology here in the Sydney University. She actually pushed me to, why not you go and I have always scribbled my ideas in bits and pieces throughout, wherever I found time. I used to scribble my thoughts. She pushed me, said, you should publish these things, put this thing all together, and then let me review it, because she has the authority to review, right? Can review and can also verify that if I'm writing something in line with science, right? I'm just not making up things from my mind. What people do normally, they think something and they think that is true. They think that their theory is true, but then the theory has to be tested in lab, right? So that is where she helped me with. She verified all of these things, and then finally it all materialized. I also have taken her name in the book in the acknowledgement section, but then and she's constantly helping me all the time. I never thought that I will publish a book. It was never in my mind. I always was fond of behavioral science. I think someone pushed me, otherwise I wouldn't have published.
That's good actually, that you got inspiration from somebody that made you write the book about priming you. So I'm sure this will help us cope with the corporate psychology and mindset. So I think you have started writing the book during COVID, once the COVID has started, and I have written my book and launched my book, and after that the COVID had started.
Okay.
So I have written the book before the COVID, and after writing the book, the COVID has started.
Did it start because of you writing it? Just joking.
I don't actually think so. And even my book is about thoughts and thought process. So, if not completely, somewhere there would be a little bit of interlink between the two concepts, is what I understand. So that is how we are trying to understand and know about each other's concepts, and
Sure,
how
sure.
it
So let
would
me,
have a real time impact
right.
on the world and then the society. Like you
Sure.
must be aware that I do a lot of social awareness programs, social awareness initiatives, and I'm nominated for my social cause activities, and I've been awarded by Indian Achievers Award
That's great.
for my initiative in resolving the issues or helping the people around, and the positive impact that the thought process has created among the minds of the people, making them achieve the success, the results that they want, fine tuning their thoughts. And thought life cycle is the first ever written concept in the world. We don't have that concept written so far. So I'm fortunate enough to uh, get that concept and publish it in the form of a book. And it's been recognized by the government of India. I've got a copyright for it recently after 2 years, 3 years.
That's
So
great. That's great.
that's something about thought process. People talk about thought process, but I understand very few of them know about the concept, that they are implementing that concept without their consciousness. Because the
Hmm.
thought life cycle happens in your mind without your knowledge. You get some idea, you execute that idea, you put that into implementation, and you see the outcome of it, and later on you forget about it. So this is a 9 step process which happens in everyone's mind in a unique way. Without their
Right.
knowledge, without their intervention, you don't need to tell your mind to do something. So this thought process happens subconsciously within the mind, in the conscious mind. And along with
Right.
thought process, I have defined search engine mind. So I say that we need to query the data that we want. Say, for
Mhm.
example, you have something in your life, you want to achieve something. Your priorities are
Mhm.
different, your likes and dislikes are different. You have chosen a particular trajectory in your career and in your personal life, and you're working towards accomplishing that. While
Mhm.
my trajectory could be different, and some other person's trajectory could be different. So
Right.
everybody has got their unique thought process, the way
Mhm.
they tune their mind, the way they design their life. So it is different
Right.
from person to person until and unless you want to make yourself as a replica of that person, which is a very
Mhm.
unusual scenario. Because everybody wants to be different, everybody wants to be unique. They don't want
Right.
a copy of others.
Mhm.
So that is how you have to train your mind. I say that you need to develop your mind to reach to that higher states of mind, wherein
Mhm.
you understand the difference between the reality and the virtuality and the significance of virtuality on your reality.
Okay.
Sure, that is what I believe we are in the transit phase now of virtuality and reality, that people are not able to understand what exactly is virtual, what exactly will turn out to be real.
What do you mean by virtual? When you say virtual, what do you mean by
Virtual
that
is
in this
something
context?
which is intangible, I say, which
Mhm.
you don't have that in your reality,
Which has not yet materialized.
which is not yet materialized. It's only in your thoughts
Right.
world. So you want to accomplish something in your life. You want to meet some people. You want to be in that position. You want to see your designation as XYZ in the system. You want to
Mhm.
achieve the dream future, your dream house, your circle of friends. So all of them are in your thoughts now. Until
So
you,
it's more like aspiration.
it's an aspiration, but until you work towards it, you wouldn't be able
Mhm.
to get to reality. To get it to
Correct.
reality, you need to get your aspiration into something tangible. Then you need to call
Correct.
your friend, or you need to find out a way to meet your friend, or buy your dream
Mhm.
house and develop your career towards how you can buy that, put up your savings, and
Mhm.
work hard in your job, increase your investment. So all of this you need to do in reality. This is not
Mhm.
virtuality. Virtuality is in your mind. But when you execute that thought, you see this outcome. So that is what I call it as materialization and manifestation of the thoughts into reality. So you have to
Okay.
perform some activity or action towards it, towards your thought, which is there in your mind, put it
Mhm.
into action, then only you will be able to see the outcome of it.
Mhm.
So this is
Sure.
the search engine mind. Oh, we are living in an abundant pool of information and knowledge. So I call it as universal library. It's similar to
Mhm.
a database concept, the search engine mind. We have a huge database like Google, Binge. We have so many search engine database providers. We have terabytes, uh, gigabytes of data. From that, you
Mhm.
don't need all that data, right? You put up a query, what exactly you want. So, like that, we
Mhm.
are all living in the abundant pool of information and knowledge. We just have to develop our mind to query the data. What do I want? And your mind
Mhm.
is powerful enough to fetch that data for you. And then you have to fine tune your thought process in executing your thoughts and seeing the outcome of it. For that, you need to have that potential. You need to believe in yourself that I can achieve whatever I want to achieve. I have the
Mhm.
potential in me. I have those aspirations. I can work towards my dreams. So that is what you need to have, a positive mindset. So this is again the next
Right.
phase of developing yourself. This we call it as personality development, your mind
Mhm.
development. But what happens in your mind, the thought process, the thought life cycle, it is unconscious, it is subconscious. You don't need to tell your mind that. You just have to ask your mind, I want to get this idea, and it will fetch it
Mhm.
to you. But the phases of a thought, it happens, it's a recurring process, continuous process, and it is unique for every person.
Right. So if I understand, I just want to rephrase in couple of lines. If I understand that the unique way of thinking, each one of us are thinking uniquely. And what you have done is you have categorized the mind and shown in a flow that how it runs through each cycle. You have probably discovered the various phases of the mind, right? Each of our mind goes through these certain phases. And if I understood it correctly,
Correct. It's a framework, it's a
do
thought
you,
process
it's
framework.
a framework, right? But do you also in the book give any indication as to how to discover these cycles for any individual? Say, so for instance, me, I want to discover what is the cycles in my brain, what is my potential, how do I get there? Do you give any kind of clues, anything?
So that is again discovering your potential is through positive affirmations, that you need to build up your potential within you. You need to
Oh.
have that is what building self confidence. You need to there are few affirmations, again positive affirmations, that I can achieve it, I can do it, I can work towards it, I can find it, I can get it. So these are the repeated affirmations that good novelists and psychologists say, that you have to train your mind to accept your potential. See, what I say is, all of us has enormous potential within us, but some
Correct.
of us believe it, some of us don't believe it. Again,
Mhm.
there is a difference between self confidence and overconfidence. What I say is,
Correct.
you need to have that self confidence, that I can do
Mhm.
it. But what do I have to do to get it? You can't just sit back and say that I will get it, no matter how. It's not going to happen.
Correct.
So, self confidence is something that believing in yourself and training your mind to understand and realize your potential. That is how you increase your leadership qualities. Even for the CEO, once he becomes a CEO, he has to execute what he is expected to execute in his role, right?
Mhm.
Without that, nothing is going to happen. So
Right.
that is what I call, you need to be self confident, you need to have that potential, you need to believe in yourself, and your mind helps you achieve that. Some
Sure.
people, they don't get to this state of mind at all. They
Right.
simply get back saying, no, I don't want to do so much. I don't want to, I cannot achieve so much. See, if you really don't
Mm.
want to do, that's fine. It completely depends on your priorities in life, what you have designed in
Mhm.
your life. Nobody is going to force you if you don't want to do that. But
Correct.
if you want to do that, and if you feel that I cannot do that, then that is what I say. That is where you need to self improve yourself. Even I have lot of strengths, lot of weaknesses. Everybody has got that, so you need to consistently work towards your weaknesses, strengthening your weaknesses, and understanding your strengths. Most of
Correct.
the people
Correct.
don't understand their strengths.
Mm.
They only focus on
True.
their weaknesses, but at the same time, you
Mm.
need to understand your strengths and strengthen your weaknesses. That is where you see the opportunities.
Correct. I'll quickly jump in and probably will talk about my book a little bit. And I'm seeing some kind of bridging, as to what you have written, as to what I have written. So there is some sort of connection, and also there is some sort of way forward that you can take from my book, which your book can utilize. That's how I feel after hearing you. So as you said that our mind are all our minds are unique, and all our minds are preconditioned in their own unique way, right? And it follows this 9 steps, the 9 cycles. Every one of us follows this particular cycle. It's a good
Nine.
thing that you have done. 9 phases. It follows the same 9 phases, but in their own unique ways. Everyone has got their own variables,
Right.
right? Now, the thing is, your book talks about how to develop your mindset so that you better realize these phases and work toward getting your aspirations in place, right? What priming you is about, it's mostly about the same thing. I also talked about, it's not entirely same, but I also talked about the unconscious activities, right? You're right, saying that most of the thing, actually all of the things happen in the subconscious mind, right? It's without any notification, a lot of things are happening inside our minds. Even in my book, I wrote about the illusions of the self, the illusions of the free will. These are just not philosophy. These are now hardcore neuroscience. This has been proved in the lab with all sorts of fMRI equipments, and I've gone there and seen those equipments myself, and I've tested that, felt it, graph by graph, so I know what I'm talking about. The illusionary nature of the self is what you're talking about. Subconscious mind actually has done each and every bit of your life, right? And they're handing over the output to your conscious mind, and you're running with it. Your conscious mind is running with it. Now, that part is similar to what you have probably, you have discussed it in a different format. I have discussed it in a very philosophical format. Now, in the later part of the book, I think this is where we separate. In the later part of the book, probably you have discussed about how to build positive mindset to receive your outcome of destiny, to go toward your fate, and to fulfill your aspirations. So that is where you're aiming. You're doing this with affirmations that you said. You probably have given various tricks of affirmations to use so that someone finds it useful, uses it, and achieves the required mindset. In my book, what I have done is I am asking everyone to practice mindfulness. So here, a little bit shift in the writing, I would say. I have discussed a lot of mindfulness practices, and I claim that if you can do 30 minutes, the tricks that I have shared in the book, if you read the various sorts of mindful, and each and every mindfulness trick is designed for various type of people. You have one sort of identity. I have different sort of identity. There are many identities of people, right? So each people, first of all, has to realize what type of identity they are, and they have to pick up their own meditation practices. And if you do that at least 30 minutes every day for at least 20 days nonstop, every morning 30 minutes for 20 days, you will actually fall in that habit of doing it. And then you don't have to force yourself to build a positive mindset. Your life will automatically fall in place. It's an amazing thing in psychology. In positive psychology, your mind automatically falls in place once you simply sit down and meditate for 30 minutes every day. And you will see in a month's time, you will begin to see all of a sudden, naturally, everything is falling in place. And you're questioning, how is it happening? All of a sudden, just a month back, I was finding it very difficult to talk to a colleague of mine, right? I was finding it very difficult to even, talk to my boss or to my juniors. All of a sudden, everyone is behaving properly with me. What is happening? It's just not everyone is behaving properly. You have changed the course. So, and it's proven. It's proven your relationship, both professionally and personally changes radically. Now, mindfulness practices.
You have illustrated in your book to the readers that to follow the practices and the methods which you have explained to get to the results that they want.
Exactly.
Either through
You
meditation
should have.
practices or through affirmations or through training their mind. And
Yeah.
how do they get those changes in their life once they start implementing and executing the practices which you have defined in your book? While my
So,
book
see.
talks about
Yeah.
thoughts, it is a framework like upon which we have the customized thoughts built upon. Like we have the software development framework, which is common across different projects, different programs like requirements gathering, coding, testing, support. So these are the common phases for all the projects, irrespective of
Mhm.
which vertical you're working in, what is the line of business. This is a common SDLC framework. Like that,
Right.
defined a common thought process framework upon which you can build your customized thoughts depending on your needs and requirements, what you want to achieve and accomplish in your life. So I
Right.
suppose this is where we are deviating in our concepts, while you have mostly focused on your priming concepts of mind, how to get to the reality, what you want to achieve, what's there in your mind.
Mhm.
While I have defined this thought process framework, which is a framework
Mhm.
upon which the thoughts can be built upon, and where these concepts are getting interlinked is with the affirmations, training the mind, with the meditation practices, what to do
Mhm.
to get to the results that you want. Yeah, so there is an interlink with the some of the concepts in the book, but the main subject of the book differs from yours, which is about the priming you, while my book is about unique thought process.
So
So,
you have laid down the unique thought processes. You have categorized and laid down and presented in your book. While priming you's main focus was to prime you, was to change you to a better person that you most aspire about. That is priming you. It's entirely about building you. So, and your book is about laying down the foundations of what are the phases of thoughts, right?
right,
And my thing is about more about identifying those thought processes
right.
and making use of, use of it to build your mindset. So my book is more of an application, and I think your book is more of a theory. It's a new thing that I've come up with, right?
Yeah.
And it'll be
So,
useful.
coming to priming you, is it only for the corporate, the people who are working in the corporate, or it's for the people across different professions, or only for IT industry?
No, it can be used by everyone, but I have targeted IT simply because I've taken a lot of examples from IT. If you read the book, you will see. I mean, in general, anyone can use it, but then the examples given in the book, because I only have experience in IT, so I picked it up from my office life examples. So yeah, but then so corporate guys will be able to relate more, and that is the reason my target market is corporate. The first book actually has gone to bestseller. It was ranking number 7 for over 2 months, so it's good. And mostly only the volume 1. Volume 2 also have done good job. It maintained 50th rank throughout these 2 months. And let's see, I've released volume 3 yesterday. And you should have joined yesterday's session. We actually did some mindfulness practice. Everyone meditated with me, and I
Oh,
have given
good.
instructions and given the tricks and tips on how to do it properly.
That's good.
So, hmm,
So, we'll quickly conclude this session. Then,
sure.
what message you want to give the people? if you really want to convey some message, what would you want to convey through priming you?
My message through this book is simple. Be meditative, practice mindfulness, and have more control over your senses and emotions. Speculate and question what you don't understand or something that is bothering you. Don't be superstitious. Don't be delusional. Don't accept if something is hurting you. See through things. Have loving compassion. Open your eyes and wake up from your delusions. All that I have written in the book throughout the 3 volumes are not theories or a way of thinking. I'm simply asking you to make an attempt to find your true self. I hope you can. Everyone can make this transition and be more prosperous, and find what you truly deserve in your life. So that's the message.
Yeah, sure. So I would definitely want to go through all your series of books very soon, and then we can catch up for another talk if we find time. So it
Absolutely.
was nice interacting with you. Nice talking to you, Arnab. Thank you so
Likewise.
much.
Likewise. Talk to you soon, Srilekha.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much. See you
Thank you,
later.
Srilekha. See you
Bye.
later. Bye.